Hey all, Simone here with Bulletproof Startups. Happy Friday. It's been a long week and I've talked to a lot of people this week, and planning has been one of those conversations that's just been weaving throughout the whole week. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about that because hopefully I can give you a few insights that might help you cut your learning curve just a little bit shorter. So y'all have probably heard the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. And, that's kind of a classic comment. And a lot of young leaders I talk to, they don't really have anything, they don't want to have anything much to do with planning because it feels like, why plan? Things change so quickly, it seems like a complete waste of time. And if you're a CEO of a younger company, you're probably used to this MO that's kind of shooting from the hip. You feel like you're in action. It's really exciting because you feel like you're doing stuff all the time. You're busy, you're fighting fires, you're running around, you're getting things done, or so you think. But really, at some point, pretty quickly, it feels stressful. You feel like you're always behind. You're just being reactive, and actually a lot of stuff doesn't get done. And if it does get done, it's not prioritized right, it's not the right sequencing, and actually you're executing on the wrong thing and stuff doesn't really get done. So it sort of feels it's okay when it's just you or you have a teeny tiny team, but the more people you add to your team, the more things will just fall apart. So, it feels okay because you feel like things are changing overnight, so why on earth should you plan further out? So if you have succeeded so far, you've probably succeeded kind of despite yourself, and you've been one of the very, very few lucky ones. And I'm going to be dead honest here, luck is not a strategy. And what got you here is not going to be what gets you to that next level of business. And I know that's where you all want to go. So when you think about why really successful companies are really successful, strategic planning is actually a really big piece of that. All successful companies do it. They do long-term planning, they do short-term planning, and they have milestones in between. So it really gets to this yearly, quarterly, monthly, and weekly planning where all the different business areas align and everybody is sure that they're all driving the same core competencies. So you might wonder, okay, if I'm going to do planning, does it matter what methodology to use? And you bet your butt that it really, really does matter. There's so many different ones that you could be using. You can read about it and YouTube it or whatever. But there's one thing about not planning that I might agree with some people. Thinking you know how to plan and thinking you know what the right process is almost worse than not planning. And you might wonder why on earth I would be saying that, because when you don't plan, at least somewhere in the back of your mind, you know that you're not planning, that you're not really choosing the right routes, or that you're not being as responsive as you should be, and things are possibly falling apart down the road. So you have this in the back of your mind, and you know that there should be something that you're paying attention to. But when you think you know what you're doing, that makes you just dangerous enough to really get it wrong. Because when you think what you're doing, when you think you know what you're doing, but you really don't, it's like you don't know what you don't know. And then it really doesn't work. And then you're going to go, oh, this didn't work, so I'm never going to do it again. And I really don't want that for you. So most planning methods don't work because they don't really take you from vision to action. And, face it, we're not just planning for the sake of it or because we feel like this is a fun thing to do. We want to actually come out with really good outcomes, like strong results and outcomes that drive your company to that next level of business where you really want to be. So when we think about what's the right methodology, it's got to be something that drives ownership and accountability. And when you don't have alignment and you don't build leadership on all levels, you don't have that ownership and accountability. So it's really important you go through a process that really carves that out so that you come up with a vision that is like big enough to be really inspiring and that gets people stretching. But in the end, you're going to come out with that result that's very tangible, that's very actionable, that gets you exactly what you need to get. So when you don't have that culture and level of alignment and leadership, what happens in the end is that you just become the chief enforcement, chief follow-upper, chief micromanager officer. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, and it doesn't get you the results either. So you're just constantly feeling like you're herding cats, and who wants to do that? So, and why do I know this? Because I've gone with dozens of companies through this. I have been the first-hand witness for what works and what doesn't work. And honestly, I've developed my own process because nothing I've seen really got people from A to Z. And, what does it take to be really, really good at this? Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. What does it take to be really good at this? It takes using a process that really works, like the process I was talking about, and then it takes really implementing, because you can come up with the best process if you're not actually going to implement it consistently. It's going to get you nowhere, and then it was this huge waste of time that you look back at and you go, oh my God, I'm never going to do this again. So that's worse. So most importantly, use the right methodology, commit to using it, and then use it consistently all the time. So keep thinking differently. That's what got you here. Don't stop now. And if you don't want to be that chief reminding officer, use a really good process that works. I developed one that I love. If you want to hear more about that, go to bulletproofstartups.com and check out the free training there. And let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you guys. So again, go to bulletproofstartups.com and check out the training, and I will see you guys next week. Cheers.